Hey everyone, I am going to teach you star stitch today. This is a very pretty textured stitch and it is worked over 2 rows of your knitting, a wrong side row and a right side row. I have started with just a couple rows of stockinette to get us started. And then row 1 of this pattern is always going to begin on a wrong side row, and all you do is purl back along the row, which I've already done. Now to work row 2, and star stitch is worked in multiples of 3. So what I've done is cast on 15 stitches with a selvage stitch on each end just to keep things tidy. So I'm going to work my selvage. Then I'm going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to take my left hand needle. I'm going to insert it front to back into that 3rd stitch on the needle. And then I am going to pull it over the first 2 and off the needle. Then because I have decreased 3 stitches into 2, I'm going to add a yarn over. That will keep my stitch count consistent. Then I will work another 3. There's my 3. Again, left hand needle into the 3rd stitch, pull that up and over the first 2 stitches off the needle. Work another yarn over. And you're going to keep doing this across the entire row. So there's my 3. Inserting, pulling up and over, work another yarn over. Again, you work this in multiples of 3. That yarn over brings your stitch count back to 3. Then we're going to work another 3. Insert your needle into the 3rd stitch, up and over and off, yarn over, and then we're going to work that final 3. Whoops. Bring that up and over, and a final yarn over. Then I'm just going to work my selvage stitch. So you can see here is the beginning of what the stitch looks like. I'm going to work a couple more sets of this so you can get a better idea. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back and I have worked a couple repeats of the star stitch in one color, and I'm also going to show you how to join a new yarn, because while this is pretty in one color, it's super pretty if you do it in 2 colors. So again, because this begins with a wrong side row, you are going to be joining your yarn on what will be the left edge of the piece. So you're just going to go ahead, tension your yarn, and when you're adding a new yarn, it doesn't matter what kind of pattern you're working. Let me work my selvage edge here. That first row is always going to be a bit rough looking. And don't worry about how loose your stitches are here, because you can tighten those up. So I'm just going to go ahead and purl across the row. All right, I have purled back. I now have the row of light colored stitches, and I am about to work the actual star stitch. So I want to show you what's going on here a little bit so you understand what I'm doing. I have worked a set of the star stitch in the dark color. I've then attached the light color, purled back, and you can see how there is this stitch that is over the yarn over that I worked in the previous set. You are going to work these 3 stitches here, making your next set of star stitches. So let me show you what that means. Just working my selvage. Now before I get to these 3, I need to work 1. And this time around, for the light yarn, I'm going to work my yarn over first. Then I'm going to knit these 3. Needle into that 3rd stitch. Pointy needles are a huge help when doing this, by the way. You want to make sure you don't split your plies, which is what I am beginning to do here. Okay, grab that 3rd stitch, pull it over the 2. You can see how that cluster is now centered over the yarn over from the previous set. Work a yarn over and work the next set of 3. And again, insert your needle, pull that up and over, another yarn over, Work that 3. Find your 3rd stitch, up and over, another yarn over. You can see my edge stitches here are really loosey-goosey. That's just because I've added that color. Don't worry about that. You'll tighten that up. So, all right, there are the 3 that I've worked. Going to go in, pull that 3rd stitch over. Now, I don't have enough stitches to work a star stitch, and I have already worked my yarn over of that 3-stitch set. So I'm just going to go ahead and knit these 2. And then I'm going to go and work my selvage edge. Going to turn your work, give a couple of good solid tugs to your yarn here to kind of tighten up those stitches. Now what I need to do is go and start working with my dark yarn again. And anytime you are working 2 colors, you want to bring the new color under, let me get these ends out of your way here. You want to bring the new color under and then over the old color. And I will show you why you want to do that at the end of this video segment. So again, work my selvage and just purl back. And we're back. This is the right side of the fabric. I have worked 1 set in the light color. I have purled back with the dark color. I am now working row 2 with the dark color, selvage, and we are back where we started. There are the 3 that we want to work as a star stitch. 1, 2, 3. 3rd stitch over. Work a yarn over to even out your stitch count and bring it back to 3. I'm going to work several repeats of this so you can see what it looks like when it's done. So here is a completed swatch of star stitch. There's the stockinette I began with. There is my first set. Light, dark, light, dark. And you can see it forms a very pretty lattice pattern. Let me see if I can pull it a little bit more open where you can see those star clusters. And then remember when you were working it and you were wrapping the yarns, the new yarn, up and over the old one? The reason you do that is it creates this beautiful edge. And because I've worked a selvage stitch, it also gives that really nice braid to the edge of your work. So that is the star stitch. Now, one other thing that I want to show you is if you have a chart, if you have a star stitch chart, it's going to look something like this. These are your chart symbols, dark yarn, light yarn. And remember, you are going to begin on the wrong side. So when you see just a blank square like that, it means that you're going to knit on the right side, but purl on the wrong side. So just like you did, you're going to purl back. Row 2, you are going to knit. And then this symbol is your star stitch here. So you're going to knit 3, pass the 3rd stitch over the 2 stitches, and then add your yarn over. And again, that keeps that 3-stitch set even. This weird looking repeat is exactly that. So if I cast on 15 stitches, I'm going to work my first couple, and then I'm going to work multiples of 3, star stitch yarn over, star stitch yarn over, star stitch yarn over, until I come to those last few stitches, whatever the chart tells me to do, and I'm just going to knit those. You're going to add your light yarn, purl back because that is the wrong side row, and then you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to knit the beginning stitches. Because you are offsetting this pattern, you will work your yarn over first, then work your star stitch, yarn over, star stitch, yarn over, star stitch as far across the piece as you can, ending with 2 knit stitches. So that is all you do, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you will end up with something that looks like this. So that is the star stitch. Thank you very much for watching.